I want to pull you a little bit more. I want to thank you very much for those fantastic comments and a great discussion. It occurs to me, I want to make one comment before we wrap it up. That, I've learned a lot from this whole process. I've learned a lot from this discussion. I've learned a lot from the papers. There's one thing that I'm more confused about than ever, though, and that is the term holistic, which I thought I understood before this process started. It's a word that is used universally regarding admissions. Everyone does holistic admissions, and we all brag about it. And I don't know what it means anymore, frankly. I think one definition is that we don't use just one metric. We look at multiple metrics. Well, by that definition, everyone has been doing holistic admissions forever, I think. I mean, I can't imagine there was ever a graduate program that only accepted students above an 85 percentile on the GRE or above a 3.8 GPA or whatever. There are some undergrad schools that do non-holistic admissions where they will, for example, take the top X percent of every high school class, right? That's not holistic. But graduate admissions have always been holistic in that sense. I think a more extreme definition is to say that, or a more strict definition or restricted definition is to say that holistic admissions means that no one element of your application will be the deciding factor. We look exclusively at the whole. And that's kind of where I thought it was. But when I really think about that, I think that implies that no single element will be the deciding factor. In other words, the GRE in a holistic process will never be the thing that tips the scales towards accept or towards decline, right? But if that's true, doesn't that mean that if you remove that aspect of the application, it would have no impact, right? If GRE scores never tip the scales one way or the other, then removing it would have no effect, in which case we're not using it at all. So I don't really have a resolution here. I'm just crying out in my confusion about what holistic means. And I'd love to hear, if anybody wants to educate me on that, I would love to hear your comments at some point. But we're getting close to the end of this 2-hour session. Thanks to you guys for sticking it out. I want to ask a couple more questions of you, because you know I like to collect data. So, if you can go back to, if you can open up your browsers and go back to polev.com/PIBS. Okay. So the question is, before I ask you, the next question is going to be, having seen all this and read all this, what's your opinion about the GRE right now? But my question for you first is, what's your estimate? I'm just curious. What's your estimate about how the opinions in this room have changed from spring to this moment in time? Which way do you think that, and I didn't show you the data for opinions that I collected earlier, but not knowing that, what's your sense? Are we leaning more toward the GRE or away from the GRE as a result of this whole process? And we have some cynics out there. And I'm not sure you're wrong, but we're going to find out. Okay. Okay, so the biggest category, obviously, or by far, I should say, is no change. Okay, great. Okay, so the last question. I'm going to ask your opinion one more time. Should the GRE be required for, what is your opinion at this very moment in time? Should the GRE be required for PIBS admissions or not? Okay, well, for what it's worth, this is what the data look like in the room right now. And going back and comparing to the previous responses, it looks like basically what has happened is that those who had no opinion at the beginning of the process have tended to come down on the anti-GRE side, but not a huge change overall. I'll share these numbers with you later on, all these numbers with you later on. But thanks very much for participating in that and for participating in this discussion. That was really a respectful, open-minded discussion on all sides. I appreciate it. And I will keep you informed about this process as it goes forward. But for now, I want to respect your time, so I will let you go. And we'll keep in touch on this. Thank you.